I just want to change your figures for future.
Yeah.
How many girls in the room? Probably more than the guys. So that percentage, what you're saying on the startups, will change in future. Because Dyal Singh will produce more girl startups than anything. I can just see it in the room. And that number has to change. It's changing. Yeah. Another thing which I wanted to share with all of you was, yes, all of us in India need to acknowledge and feel that if agriculture is not there, we will not survive. So probably each child knows, and this generation knows more than us, because you people are more aware than where I used to be at that age. So thanks to that, I don't think so I need to reiterate. But there's a twist to a startup, and there are two young gentlemen who are sitting here who will acknowledge. How you can make a difference is going to be important from today's discussion. Take that back for yourself. As the discussion finishes, take two things at least back from this discussion. And it could be anything. Because probably 50% sitting out there want to do a startup. And the idea or the innovation comes out of the startup today. It doesn't come out of a corporate job sitting and doing on the... I've been working for 24 years. And probably I gave more innovation to the compliance and stuff like that. But the startups who are, sitting on my left hand side, or the policy which you're talking about, or Monis who's sitting there, who's doing an NGO work, it comes out from the idea which comes out of your mind that can change the agriculture world. There is a support system which may not be strong enough. It's a journey which exists today. And you just have to raise a hand to say, I want to talk about an idea, and we will talk through the thing. But I think I want to take from Yashji what he said, all due regard, and the question you asked, ma'am, on academia and corporates. The need is that the academia, corporates, and the government has to work together. Because without you people, even the corporates will not be able to do anything about what they want to do. And probably the new generation is going to bring those technology breakers which we never did till date, and it always came from US and other countries. Now is the time it will come from India. With that, I hand it over to you, because that's the person who's going to bring it.
So, yes, as in I would obviously like to bring the focus of the discussion much towards the Indian startup scenario and the opportunities and the challenges, because that is the focus of our discussion. And I would restrain from talking at the policy level, because there were a lot of points that I differed when you were talking about, and particularly if you look at the codes, if you really want to get into the statistics and the data, do look up at the SISI report, the Startup India scheme, the reports published by the government. If you want to look further, delve into more reports, you can pick up the Grant Thornton Indian Startup Saga report, which was published in the year 2016. These are some really, really good numbers which are being actually posted. And see, it's no brainer at the end of the day. Every report, if you take up any report, at the end of the day, it says one thing, that India is not far ahead, and there are a lot of young entrepreneurs coming up. So if I talk about myself, I started at the age of 17, and I was interning in a startup, and that's not the point. The point here is that there is no age to start, right? We've seen, I met my friends who's starting at the age of 11, who's starting at the age of 12, and even Harshit could vouch for that. So obviously mentorship, assistance, everything is there. How many of you have heard of the Atal Innovation Mission? AIM.
You probably need to share.
Yes, I was just about to share that. So under Atal Innovation Mission, mentors of change who will be, these would be the mentors who would be given a school assignment, and on this school assignment they have to dedicate some hours in the week. The school assignment would be generally on the idea, innovation and the technological aspect. They have to go to school, mentor these kids, see what the kind of projects they are doing. Then after that, it's the Niti Aayog. It is under the aegis of Niti Aayog. Niti Aayog runs, I guess, a top 30 startups grand technology innovation challenge. So under that, these startups can be taken there and can participate in the competition. So obviously a lot of help is given from the government. Even a lot of easy loans are being disbursed through the Startup India scheme. You just have a couple of a couple of formalities that you have to do, a couple of rules that you have to follow, and you will get your loan easily. We have seen our friends getting loan under the scheme. So obviously, if we talk about the help.
Talking about the startups, entrepreneurship, so I'll share my personal journey, how I started. So I'm the founder of Womenite. We started 3 years back. Why Womenite? Because my mother is my inspiration behind this. I'm like 24/7. These housewives are doing the same monotonous work, and we don't value their work so much. So we wanted to do something for them. I started in my college days, sitting in the library, making plans ki what we should do. So entrepreneurship was something that I got introduced to in my college life. Usse pehle kabhi suna nahi tha, but entrepreneurship is not a new term. I mean, like, people have been doing businesses starting from 10 rupees and making it to crores. Entrepreneurship पहले से चल रहा है. ये है कि हमने थोड़ा इसको नया concept दे दिया. So we started from our library, building website, publishing articles. Ki we'll reach out to the women and share about health, hygiene, etc., etc. After a few months, we decided, we realized that until and unless we do something offline, on ground, we are not going to create an impact. And then at that point, we started conducting workshops in the schools on issues like child sexual abuse, gender, menstrual hygiene. And that is the time we realized that the actual impact is coming. A 10-year-old girl coming to us and saying that, there's this doctor in their school who is harassing them, or there's this teacher who is harassing them. I'm like, that kind of stories that came up, that motivated us that, we are on the right track. And we formulated our plans, we continued that journey. I come from a very decent background, I'm like good background, but then I sold badges in front of a mall, raising funds for our organization, although I could have afforded from my personal pocket money. But then yes, I sold because my team was there. We wanted to do everything from our own side. We sold badges in front of the mall, and then at the same time we were like pitching our organization in front of the UN Women officials in the headquarters in New York. So why I am sharing is that when I started Womenite, my batchmates used to laugh at me. We are doing some business where we involve women at night. I'm like Women Night. And the same batchmates right now, they ask for certificates and LOR for their top business schools and in abroad and in India. So why I'm sharing is that, entrepreneurship, two things I would say. First, entrepreneurship is not about creating $1 billion money. It's about impacting 1 billion people. And second, I apologize for my words in advance, but entrepreneurship एक नशा है. इसको ज़हन में उतारो और फिर देखो मज़ा. Thank you.
Since we are told that we are short of time, so we will not open to the floor. We will discuss within ourselves actually. So I'll be throwing a few questions, and we'll be talking in that direction. But you are open to add any point or anything that we want to do. So first question is, again, there are 3 things when I was doing some study on startups, and also when I started this venture, there are 3 things which comes in your way when you do it. First thing, what is the product that you are offering to the market and how valuable it is. Second is, how do you raise funds? Because funding is one of the most important part to make your business success. Otherwise you can't survive. If you don't have money, you can't do it. So the third, so I will ask the panel, what are the challenges normally we face in the business, and how you personally have come up with solutions to that?
So my information will be a little limited because I am a mentor to a couple of startups, and my husband, after 30 years of very senior service of CEOs, has started his own consultancy because he was mentoring the startups at Innovate with Ritesh Malik for almost 2-3 years for free, and created a model out of it. So he's starting. So that's how I've been interacting, because I feel that the more I interact with the younger generation, I will survive more. Because thanks for smiling, but that's true. Because that's how we will learn more from you all. So my learnings from what I interacted with people is, yes, definitely the seed funding is something which comes from the angel investors. and that's a term very widely used now, because there will be people, because it's a smaller mind of money, because I think there are 3 phases of funding which you need. One is the seed funding, then the second one your product is developed, and the third when there is a expansion funding which is required. I think the challenge which I understand is which comes from the second one, because the angel investors generally fund in till there, and I don't want to quote numbers, but 9 out of 10 startups fail also. And so the second funding is where that struggle occurs, and I think he can add there. I think the third, another thing which I see a challenge, and you may not like it because you're very young, is at a very young age, people have created a startup, they become famous, they write a book, that's the next step, they're an author, and then I met people and he says, oh, I don't know what to do now, I'm done. At an age of 26, I'm done. And like I'm looking at him, oh, the passion is gone. I think that's a challenge, because that guy had huge ideas, and because it went so fast, it went like at the speed of a bullet train, and the idea stopped. And I don't mean it to the 2 people who are sitting here, but I'm talking for some people where I saw that challenge. And I feel there the experience and the mentorship from the industry helps a lot. I'll hand it over to you.
So my information on this, my knowledge on this would be a bit elaborative, because at FARD we are an accelerator platform, and we deal with startups who are looking to raise funds, and we deal with investors as well. So we deal with people on both sides of the table. So what ma'am said is entirely correct, and I would just like to make a little bit of iterations in that. So how many of you have heard of Chetan Bhagat? How many of you actually like reading Chetan Bhagat's book? Don't worry, no one will judge you. You can obviously.
The first one was nice. I liked it. It's okay.
So the point I'm trying to say here is that a lot of startups today are getting funding on the basis of the credibility of the people who are running them. So Chetan Bhagat, though doesn't write that well, or that is a personal opinion, but at least he's serving those 2 people, he's serving that recipe to the people which people actually love eating. So he talks about love, he talks about politics, he talks about young generation. These are the 3 things which make for interesting mix. So if the credibility of Chetan Bhagat has to be judged, then should not be judged by the kind of literature he's writing, but mainly by the majority of books he's selling. So whether you like it or not, Chetan Bhagat and this guy, the monk who sold his Ferrari as well, they're literally with not that good a literature, they're literally selling a lot of books, mainly because people are investing on their credibility, on their idea. So if you like it or not, Chetan Bhagat is an IT and I am, nothing changes like that. So when I've personally seen that if you belong to a good educational background, say if you are from an IIT, from the recognized IITs, not from the new IITs that have opened up, and from the same goes with IIM as well, the recognized, the BLACK. So if you are from that, obviously that adds up to your credibility. So this is one thing that has been doing, and young entrepreneurs, obviously a lot of these 9 out of 10 startups fail is a stat that I read as well. And there are a lot of challenges if we talk about young entrepreneurship, and particularly the major challenge I would say is of time, because obviously you are in college as well and you have to manage everything. Like for example, today I'm missing my classes just to attend this event. So that challenge is obviously there, and the rest of there are a lot of challenges, like people at the very young age are not that serious about startups. So for example, being a young entrepreneur, see, it's very easy today, because what you need to do is just a couple of things. You need to go on GoDaddy, buy a 100 rupees domain name and get your company registered. And now the Ministry of Corporate Affairs has started doing company registrations for free as well. You can get your company registered for free, and damn, you're the CEO of the company. So you're getting how easy entering into this domain is, but making a name for yourself is the most difficult part, right? So a lot of people can enter, but that is what we study in economics as well, perfect entry and exit. Once you enter, it's very exit. You can take an exit as well, but you need to, it's a perfect competition out here. Everyone is sort of being the substitutes, like whatever thing you have, whatever idea you have in your mind, and don't think that it's very unique. It's not being done by somebody in like anywhere, because of your idea at that very second of time, someone is making money on that particular idea at some part of the world. So that is how you need to differentiate yourself. You need to be very focused on this. Obviously, you need to defy the numbers as well. So this is one thing that I prefer sharing, and mostly on the investment side, and just will take 1 minute on this. On the investment sides, we deal with a lot of startups who are just running after investments. See, because if you get funded and you have the tag of a funded startup, that becomes very jazzy, right? That I am funded by these and these investors, and you can actually flaunt that along. But mostly startups, like at FARD, personally speaking, we've been doing business for 3 years now, and we are completely bootstrapped. So by bootstrapped, we mean that we've just taken some amounts of money from the first circle, the family and the friends. And there is no need for funding. We are bootstrapped and still profitable. So focus on building the product. Focus on sort of strengthening the product side or the service side. And the second stage, which is the most difficult stage, is generally the prototype, right? So focus on that. Focus on building the prototype. And if you build that well, if you take that to an investor, I don't see any major difficulty in getting you a fund. So this is something that I would like to add.
I feel that passion, consistency, and faith is something that you need to have. If you want to start up or you want to do any kind of thing. I had faith in my idea. I had a belief that we are creating impact in the lives of the people whom we are working with. And as ma'am mentioned that 9 out of 10 startups fail. I think it's because they might not be passionate about, or it's just about they are trying to mint out money from the investors or something.